Welcome. Have you ever heard a story where death itself is a character? It's not just a tale of fantasy, but a gripping narrative that has been told for centuries. Imagine a world where death walks among us, influencing the lives and fates of people. This isn't just any story. It's a tale that delves deep into the human psyche, exploring themes of greed, betrayal, and the ultimate reckoning. A tale about greed and betrayal? Yes, indeed. These are timeless themes that resonate with all of us even today. Greed, that insatiable desire for more, often leads people down dark paths. Betrayal, the act of being turned on by those we trust, adds a layer of complexity, pain, and drama to anyone's life. These elements are at the heart of our story. Gather round, because today we're diving into one of those stories, The Pardoner's Tale. This tale is part of a larger collection known as the Canterbury Tales, written by Chaucer in the 14th century. It's a story that has been passed down through generations, captivating audiences with its moral lessons and eerie atmosphere. It's a chilling story from this famous work of literature. This collection of stories is a cornerstone of English literature, offering a glimpse into the lives and beliefs of people from the medieval period. The Pardoner's Tale, in particular, stands out for its dark and cautionary message. Imagine a dark tavern where three rowdy friends are drinking. The atmosphere is thick with the smell of ale and the sound of laughter. These friends, fueled by alcohol and bravado, are about to embark on a journey that will change their lives forever. They've heard a chilling rumor. Death is taking many lives in their village because of the Black Plague. The news has spread like wildfire, filling the tavern with a sense of dread and urgency. The plague, a relentless scourge, spares no one, and the villagers are gripped by fear. Feeling brave and reckless because of the alcohol, they hatch a daring plan to find Death and defeat him. This plan, born out of drunken courage, seems ludicrous. Yet, they are determined. They believe that by confronting death, they can put an end to the suffering in their village. Little do they know, their quest will lead them down a path filled with unexpected twists and powerful moral dilemmas. But first, let's go back in time. It's the 1300s in England, and a group of travelers is on a pilgrimage to Canterbury Cathedral. One of them is a sly pardoner, a man who sells religious relics and loves to tell stories. To entertain the group and maybe make some money, he shares a story, a cautionary tale about greed, betrayal, and the looming presence of death. Our three friends, full of false courage from ale, set out on their dangerous mission. They had heard tales of death lurking in the nearby forest, and in their drunken bravado, they believed they could conquer it. The tavern's dim light flickered in their eyes, each one more convinced than the other that they were invincible. With swords at their sides and determination in their hearts, they left the warmth of the tavern and stepped into the cold night, their raucous laughter echoing through the empty streets. As they journeyed, the night closed in around them. They stumbled upon an old man at a crossroads, his figure barely visible in the moonlight. The old man seemed out of place, his eyes holding a wisdom that made the friends uneasy. He wore tattered clothes, and his voice was raspy as he spoke. The friends, though wary, approached him, hoping he might guide them on their quest. The old man listened to their foolish plan with a knowing smile. He pointed them in the direction they needed to go, his finger trembling slightly. "Follow that path," he said, "and you will find what you seek." His words were cryptic, but the friends were too eager to notice. They thanked him and hurried on, their minds filled with visions of glory and triumph. As they turned to leave, the old man called out to them, his voice barely more than a whisper. "Look for death under that tree," he said, pointing to a large and ancient gnarled oak in the distance. The friends exchanged glances, their excitement growing. They had a clear destination now, and nothing would stop them from reaching it. Focused only on their goal, they rushed towards the tree, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. The forest around them seemed to breathe. the shadows growing longer and more menacing. They could hear the rustling of leaves and the mournful baying of a hound in the distance, but they paid no mind. Their focus was solely on reaching the tree and the promise of finding death. They have no idea that every step takes them closer to a fate far worse than they could imagine. The path grew darker, the air thicker with an unspoken dread. Each step felt heavier, as if the forest itself was trying to warn them. But the friends, driven by their quest, pressed on, unaware that their journey would lead them to a confrontation not with death, but with their own darkest fears and desires. The hunt for death had begun, but what they would find was something far more terrifying. Remember that tavern, that rumor about death? That was just the start. What happens next will shock you. Instead of finding death, they discover a treasure, a pile of gold coins under the tree. Greed takes over at the sight of it, and they forget their vow of loyalty to one another. They plan to steal and share the gold, but their friendship was already falling apart because of each one's desire for riches. Their plan, now driven by greed and mistrust, fails terribly. These men, once bound by a common vow, now find themselves ensnared in a web of deceit and treachery. Their greed blinds them to the loyalty they once shared, and their mistrust grows like a poison, seeping into every corner of their minds. They plot and scheme under the ancient tree, their whispers filled with promises of gold and power. But little do they know, their fate is already sealed. One by one they die because of their own betrayal. The first to fall is the one who trusted too easily, his drink laced with a deadly poison. The second meets his end in a brutal fight, his life snuffed out by the very hand he once called friend. The third, left alone and desperate, succumbs to his wounds, his body collapsing onto the cold, unforgiving ground. Each death is a testament to their treachery, a grim reminder of the price of their greed. Their ultimate death is a gruesome reminder of their hunger for wealth. The battlefield, once a place of camaraderie and shared dreams, is now littered with the bodies of those who sought to betray one another. The stench of death hangs heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the golden dreams that once filled their hearts. Their corpses, twisted in agony, tell the tale of their downfall, a story written in blood and betrayal. The gold they wanted so badly becomes their downfall, their bodies left to rot under the same tree where they found it. The treasure, once a symbol of their ambition, now lies scattered and forgotten, a silent witness to their folly. The tree, ancient and enduring, stands as a sentinel over their remains, its roots entwined with the bones of the fallen. The gold, now tainted with the blood of betrayal, lies hidden, a haunting reminder of the cost of greed. The pardoner pauses, letting the silence sink in, the image of the horrible scene stuck in the minds of his audience. His tale, woven with threads of caution and horror, leaves them speechless. The dimly lit room, filled with the flickering light of candles, casts eerie shadows on their faces. The storyteller's voice, once filled with the fervor of the tale, now falls silent, allowing the weight of his words to settle. The audience, gripped by the vivid imagery, can almost smell the decay and feel the chill of the grave. The pardoner's message is clear: greed and betrayal lead only to ruin. His story is a powerful warning about the destructive nature of greed, but is it just an old story? Sadly, no. The pardoner's tale, though told centuries ago, still feels relevant today. From big financial scandals to everyday acts of selfishness, the pursuit of wealth often comes with a high cost. Wanting more than what we have can blind us to what truly matters: our relationships, compassion, and living a good life. The pardoner, with a sly smile, then reveals his own trickery. He uses this story not as a genuine lesson, but as a way to use the fears and guilt of his listeners. He encourages them to buy his relics to cleanse their souls from the very sins he just described. This confession adds another layer to the story, showing the hypocrisy and manipulation that can hide behind a mask of piety. The Pardoner's Tale, despite its dark nature, offers a powerful message that lasts through time. It reminds us that greed is a dangerous game, one where everyone ultimately loses. It challenges us to look at our own desires and question the price we're willing to pay for what we want. It encourages us to find happiness not in material possessions, but in human connection, compassion, and living with integrity and empathy. What do you think of the Pardoner's story? Have you ever seen such greed in your own life? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into classic stories. Please leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the tale. Until next time, may your own paths be free from the dangers of greed.